Hey, 30 minutes later than I said it was going to be, but whoa, now that I'm a parent, that's like basically on time. So, welcome to my Monday Instagram Live. I am coming to you from my baking and writing studio in Whitesburg, Kentucky. And I'm just going to show you a really quick, I call it the Working Mom's Fruitcake. Full disclosure, I've never made a fruitcake, so don't come at me. If you're like a fruitcake expert, I want to learn from you. You guys, I'm human, right along with you. I don't know everything. But I do know that I can make this loaf in a day while my baby takes a nap, while I have a cold, and I think that that is meaningful. So I'm calling it a fruitcake because the majority of the bread is fruit that's been soaked overnight. I'll tell you what the mixture is soon enough, but I've soaked this overnight in some liqueur that I made this summer with Mary Denham. So if you don't know who Mary Denham is, get yourself over to her Instagram, also on Bloom's End. She's incredible, and she helped me, or she made for me, this amazing nocino. So if you are not familiar with it, it's an Italian liqueur that's made from green walnuts. So we have a walnut tree in our yard. We picked the walnuts. She picked the walnuts while they were still green and soft, soft enough that you can like slice a knife through it easily. Cracked a bunch of them open. You cram them in a jar with a nice vodka and whatever spices you want. Generally like an orange and some cinnamon, some warming spices, something citrusy, and then you leave it for a month. After that month goes by, you strain it out, and then you get this gorgeous liqueur. And I'm using it not so much to keep warm at night, even though it's 27 degrees here, but as a flavoring agent in sort of holiday baked goods. It is very festive, and I wish you could smell it, but it did have a bit of a green, honestly, look to it when we first strained it, and over time it's become this beautiful like roasted coffee dark brown here. And I use it in place of vanilla is what I was trying to say, in cakes or anything of the sort. And so I soaked our medley of fruits in the nocino overnight, and then I have just strained it out here. So I'm going to keep this and make another loaf, but I'll show you just what you and I are making today. So it just came out of the oven. This is it. Eek. And if you Google like grain-free paleo bread or any of that kind of stuff, this is going to come up too. So essentially what it is, it's a variety of soaked fruits in some kind of liqueur. I'm using nocino here. I also brought out to show you, this is a pecan liqueur. So, you might have something regional. This is specific to Kentucky. Maybe you have another kind of liqueur, or you could change your liqueurs through the season. But again, soaked fruit in some kind of liqueur, at least for 24 hours. And then toasted seeds and nuts. You put it in a bowl, you put some eggs, some sweetener, some salt, some oil, and put it in a parchment lined Pullman pan. Bake it at 350 till it's done. It's about an hour and a half, and then you get this. And so you can then slice this incredibly thin, and it is so delicious. It's perfect for a cheese board. It's perfect for Thanksgiving. Great for the winter solstice, Christmas, if you're into that kind of stuff. So I'll just show you how to do it here. I do have a recipe, believe it or not, and so I'm not going to like hold it close enough for you to see, but I will post it on my Instagram once this is done. Essentially, it's 3 to 4 eggs and 300 grams of a variety of nuts. So this is what I love about this, whatever you have in your pantry. I had cashews, almonds, sunflower seeds, and sesame seeds this morning. So I put 300 grams worth of nuts into a Staub bowl. Why don't we just do it together? So let me grab a bowl. What I want you to know about this recipe is that it's really flexible, whatever you have on hand, and it's all about ratios. So I am using a scale. I am going to put my bowl on here. I am going to tear the scale, do that like basic baker's stuff. But once you've made this enough times, you're going to be able to look in the bowl and just know by the ratios of solids to liquids if it's going to bake up properly for you. So the loaf also doesn't rise a ton in the tin. So if you want a bigger loaf, you need to start off with more ingredients. However, it can be pretty expensive, right? This is like liqueurs, dried fruit, and nuts. So I don't know. Only you know your grocery budget. So 300 grams of some nuts. Let's see what we have. All right, great. Almonds, total favorite in this. I do recommend that you toast them beforehand if you have a chance. That was 100 grams, but if you don't, it's going to be okay. But you can toast all your nuts to even further bring out some roasted flavor to it. All right. Another 100. These are organic cashew pieces from Short Mountain Cultures. They're doing amazing stuff over there. Hello, if you're watching. Love my Short Mountain Cultures. They also have bulk goods. So these are organic sunflower seeds. Great, let's do it. Okay, 300 grams of seeds. Again, mix and match. You have something different that you like, go for it. And then 70 grams of some kind of sweetener. So I'm going to tear it. And I have here some beautiful local honey. You could use regional flavor here would be sorghum. You could use maple syrup if you're coming from New England. Agave, I have this out. You could also use this if that's your jam. Just something to sweeten up the mix. And that is 70 grams. And again, I'm going to post the recipe when I'm done. But essentially you've got nuts, fruit, and something to bind it. And that's what this bread is. Bread is a loose word here. This is calling for rolled rye flakes. I don't have that, but what I do have is some beautiful rye flour that we grew in our yard, of course, over in Pound, Virginia. So this is freshly milled from rye berries. I figure, why not? So I'm going to add 50 grams of rye flour. You could use brown rice flour. You could use white rice flour. You could use barley flour. You know, if you would like to stay away from gluten for whatever reason, you can use some kind of alternative flour. Almond flour was the one I was thinking of. I have some of that down here, and that, of course, just brings the nuttiness to the center stage. Okay, and then you want a little bit of oil. So I had some nice olive oil earlier, used it all. So we just have some vegetable oil. It's 15 grams. Great. If you wanted to put some spice in here, I bet you could. I have not. We want to do some salt. About 5 grams. Salt always helps. Just kick up that flavor. All right, great. And then we want to add our soaked dried fruits. So in here, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. We have got dried cherries on the bottom, dates above that, apricots above that, figs above that, and raisins above that. And it's about 80 to 100 grams each. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 500 grams, 400 grams of some assortment of dried fruits soaked in liqueur overnight. You could take it longer, but I've already eaten some of these. They're delicious. They're great. I'm not going to eat any more. They're good. And you want some kind of spatula. And I'm just gonna get the dried fruit into the bowl. You could chop it up, like the figs and the apricots. Sure, you could chop it up. Did I bother to? No. Okay, smells good, looks good, tastes good. So here we are. So your nuts are in, maybe they're toasted, maybe they're not. You've got your sweetener, could be maple syrup, could be honey, could be agave nectar. Then you've got your oil, some kind of oil, veggie or olive oil. You've got salt. Then you've got your soaked fruit. And I'm just gonna start to stir it together. And then we're gonna add eggs. And you basically add enough eggs to where it's going to stick together like a big, it's a goopy mess, you guys, it just is. But I like to get everything kind of moist first. I've gone upwards of, the more ingredients you have, the more eggs or liquid that you need to add to get it to come together. The most eggs, am I saying it correctly? I don't know. The most eggs I've ever used for this loaf is 5, and to me it kind of borders on like eggy and not in a pleasant way. So I prefer to go for a smaller loaf that has a lower profile, because let's face it, this is really rich, right? You're not going to eat half of this. Okay, you might actually eat half of this, but less eggs, you get more of the flavor of the other ingredients. More eggs, you're able to fill out kind of more of the pan because you have more batter. So I just have 3 large brown eggs here. I need something to put the shells in. All right. And I don't blend the eggs before I put them in, just crack them. Get them in. I've seen some recipes that use psyllium husk or other things to bind, but I find with the rye flour or the rolled rye oats and the egg, that's enough for me. I suppose if you wanted to, you could whisk the eggs in a separate bowl and pour them in, but the whole point here is to do it, for me, the whole point is to do it while my baby takes a nap. So it's like a marathon of all the other things that you're trying to get done in your day. You gotta do them in 20 minutes. But the great thing is then this goes in the oven for about hour and a half. And you have something that's so easy to slice and be like on the go. I know for me, life is busy, right? Run a business, writing a book, have a baby, want to have friends, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes, I don't realize I'm hungry until I need to eat right then. And that's when I'm grabbing Cliff Bars and all kinds of things. And this loaf has really replaced that for me. I don't need to eat a lot of it. And it just hits that spot for this time of year, right? We're in Scorpio. Things are dark. We're kind of craving special things. All the squirrels are out there. My daughter and I see them every day, like getting their nuts, and just that comfort of like the fireplace and roasting nuts and soaking, special fruits from different seasons. So better than a Cliff Bar, y'all. But this mixture is not quite ready. So goopy, but it needs just something else. You want it to kind of be pourable. So I know this is like really not very technical, but I'm going to add a little bit more oil and actually a little bit of the nocino. But yeah, serve this with some apple slices, some hard cheese, like beautiful. If you have some nocino, maybe, you know, a little thimble of nocino. I'm going to experiment with this loaf I have here. You know, you can slice it this way for a little square, but I'm going to slice it the long way. So on my cheese board, I have a beautiful long log. All right. So this is good. I don't know really if you can see, but I will try. It's not runny, but it is also, it's thick, it's viscous, and I'm going to be able to pour it. And I can kind of fold it. And then here, just a minute. I gotta blow my nose, you guys. Ah! Having a cold is really just, it's very humbling. So I love to use these 9-inch Pullman pans, square, great form. And then you want to make what I call a parchment sling for it. So you're going to take a regular half sheet size piece of parchment. If you're looking for these, I buy them online from a website called Webstaurant. And you can get commercial stuff just delivered right to your door, which is the best. So I folded the end so it fits into the pan. And then you shimmy it down. And then you want to crease it on the top. Boom, on the other top, boom, and then I crease it inside. So this is what you're looking at. And there's really no need to oil the rest of the pan. If you want to, you can, but it's not necessary. I love teaching baking as what I do. It's my joy, and I do find myself in the position a lot as a teacher, basically just getting asked like, okay, well, do I have to do what you tell me? No, you don't have to do what I tell you, but I'm just here to help you. That's all. Your day, your way. But I prefer to use a parchment sling. If you don't have parchment, of course, you can just pour it into the pan. There's enough oil and egg in here that you should be able to extract it with some kind of knife. So, just goes all in. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I press down. So it's a big glob in the middle. And then I'm pressing down. This bread freezes really well. So I'm excited to cut into this and try it. But then also we are having sort of proper holidays for the first time in like 2 or 3 years between pregnancy and COVID and all the crazy things. COVID is still happening, that are going on in our world. We just haven't been able to get together with family in a long time for Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to make this ahead of time. I'm going to slice it thinly, freeze it in a double-gallon Ziploc bag, and make a nice cheese plate at Thanksgiving with this. So what I'm doing here, I poured it in, and then just out of habit, I do this with all my rye breads. I'm just going on the side and basically kind of mounding it up in the middle. And you then you can go right across the top and make it nice and smooth. So I know it's really hard to see, but you'll know you have the right ratios because there won't be any dry spots, or if it's like there's big holes between the fruit and the nut, you need a little bit more liquid. So a little bit more egg, or a little bit more sweetener, a little bit more oil should do you. This is so heavy. I'm gonna pop it in. This is probably gonna go for an hour and a half based on just the weight and the size. And then while it's baking, pour yourself a cup of coffee. But while it's baking, give it about an hour, and then when you look in, because the sides of the Pullman pan are so tall, the top might not be getting any color. So I actually just take this knife and you go around the edge that doesn't have the parchment. Then you can just release it so it comes out. And then you can just bake it. I kind of pull the parchment down and then just bake it on the rack to get the top to color nicely. So it's the same thing with bread baking. If you've got a tall side to your pot, the heat isn't going to touch that part of the dough and it's not going to get color. So it was gorgeously colored around the edges, but not a lot of color on top. Lift it up out of the pan after an hour and then just finish it off right on the rack and you'll be good. So let's cut into this. And then that's it, you guys. That's all I have. A bread knife would be nice. Ta-da! So I love this. I'm super excited about it. I think it looks good. Let's try it. Yeah. It's very good. I wish we were eating it together. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to take some pictures and post a recipe and we can get on with our day. Any questions? Again, this is what I just made. I'm calling it the Working Mom's Fruitcake. Like I said at the beginning of the video, never made a fruitcake. That's my next step. But this is incredibly festive and awesome, and it's going to be great. Slicing it like as thin as possible. Kind of treat it like a rye bread, like a very fine, thin slice if you can. Yeah. Okay, well, got emails, got errands. So, signing off for today. Thank you for watching my super quick video on how to make this awesome Working Mom's Fruitcake. Okay.